Hey guys, it's Hannah and I'm here today with my June wrap up and my July TBR. So I know that it's literally half the month right now, like it's the 15th or something right now, so I'm like halfway through the month. Yeah, it's the 14th. And I know I'm a bit late, and I was really debating on even posting this month because I just kind of needed a break, but I was aching like halfway through not filming anything for this month. I was aching to film something and talk to you guys and talk about my reading because I finally feel like I'm getting back to my reading, and so I was debating whether or not I film or keep that reading up, but I decided to talk about the books that I read because I thought that you guys needed to know my thoughts on these books. So I have already read some of my July TBR because we are halfway through the month, but that means that I know that I've already had like a good reading month. So definitely I'm going to talk to you about all these things. I'm going to stop rambling and get into the video. You can tell I have not filmed in a hot minute. Okay, so for the month of June, our Muggle Studies book club pick was When Dibble Met Rishi, and this is by Sadie Menon. And this one is all about the Indian culture and about this girl who is going to a computer programming camp, and her parents are very traditional in their Indian culture and wanting her to find the perfect Indian husband and to have that trope, and they kind of poke fun at that trope. And there is, on the other half of the other POV, is the Indian boy that she's getting set up with. She does not want to be married. She doesn't want anything to do with that. She wants to be her own self and like be in programming and be all about her career. And the Indian boy very much wants to honor his parents and honor his tradition and wants to be a part of that arranged marriage area, I guess, for a better word to say. And he goes to this programming camp because he knows that she's going to be there, and kind of like stumbles upon into her life, and she has no idea that this is all like being set up and orchestrated by her parents until they finally meet, and then she puts things together and she's like, what? So that is really where this story kicks off. It's got really great themes of Indian culture and educating people on it, and we kind of see like how parents and the family really plays part in the Indian culture, and I really liked that aspect of it. What I didn't like about this was the love interest. The love story was not gripping. It wasn't good. What I really liked about Dimple was that she had this fire in her, and she had like this kick butt female lead attitude at the beginning, and then she just kind of fizzled off throughout the book, and she wasn't as strong as a female woman in computer programming and in the science field. And so that's where I kind of like didn't love about this, but I rated this, I think, a 3 out of 5 stars. I definitely is not going to be a reread. I'm really lucky because I got it on like super sale at my Barnes & Noble, so I only paid like $4 for it, so I'm not super disappointed, but I wasn't thrilled, and I thought this one was overhyped for how much this was loved on BookTube. Next up, I picked up Bloodlines. This is the very first one in the Bloodlines series, and I absolutely adored this. I think I did like 4.5 out of 5 stars or something like this, that I absolutely adored because I'm rereading this entire series, and the rest of the girls I think haven't read it, and it's so fun to watch them go through it and enjoy it as much as I am. And this, without spoilers, this is the sister series to Vampire Academy. I absolutely love Vampire Academy, and this follows Sydney, who is an alchemist that we get to see snippets of in Vampire Academy, and I highly recommend reading this because it is so good, and the character growth is amazing, and the story arcing is so good. So definitely recommend, if you like Vampire Academy, check this one out too. Next book I picked up in the month of June was Unravel Me by Tahira Mafi. And I was not the biggest fan of Shatter Me. I didn't get the hype. I think I missed out on that train. But everybody was getting back on that train because Restore Me was coming out. So I read this. I read Restore Me like last year, I think. And I didn't really get the hype. Like, it was okay. I didn't really love the writing. And then I finally picked this one up, and I actually picked it up on audiobook, And I will have to say that if it wasn't an audiobook, I probably would have DNF'd it because I'm not a biggest fan of these. And it's just, the only thing that was keeping me going was the love interest. Everybody knows who they ship Juliet with, and there's one option, you know, like they try to do like the 3-person triangle thing, and it just, like, everybody knows at this point. I won't spoil it for people just in case you're not caught up, but like, there's one clear person that everybody ships. It's like Twilight, like everybody knows, you know, whether you know the story or not. So I've gotten to this book and I'm like, they're still not OTP, and I don't understand, like, where is that coming? Because this is the second book. We only have one more book, so we're only gonna have one book with them together, like, and I'm not, I'm gonna get a lot of flack for this, and I'm not bashing if you love this series. If you like it, that's great. I'm so glad that you get more enjoyment out of it than I do. But this book, I just feel like the characters are underdeveloped. We don't get that much backstory. Like, if you actually think and go back, like, we get hints of backstories, but we don't get any details, like, on anybody. So we don't get Adam, Warner, Juliet, even Kenji. Like, we get hints of little ideas of their backstory, but we don't get like full-on concrete things about their backstory, and it's like, it's not enough for me to get attached, so I don't really care about the characters. Like, the closest one that I care about is Kenji, and that's because he's like the comedic relief in this. Otherwise, I don't really care about them, and I don't care about the compound and everything, you know. So I think I rated this like a 3 out of 5 stars, and I think that might have been being a little generous. Probably like 2.75 to be honest, and I don't understand the hype. However, I have had people say that the third one does get better, Ignite Me does get better, but I don't know if I'm gonna pick it up. I might pick it up on audiobook because I don't think I could sit down and actually read these, because her energy is so draining. No pun intended there. Her energy is so draining and mopey in these books that it takes a lot out of me to put myself in that mindset. So I don't know if it's going to be worth it for me. Let me know down below if she gets more upbeat. People say that the storyline gets better on the third book, but does she get more upbeat or more hopeful or at least strong in the last one? Because man, she's kind of hard to deal with sometimes. Next up, I picked up Snot Girl Volume 2 by Brian Lee O'Malley and Lisa Hung. And this one, I wasn't sure if I was going to pick this one up, and then I just saw it and grabbed it, because I cannot get over how beautifully vibrant the art style is. And that's what, I mean, it's so, like, almost kawaii, and it's so beautiful. And so I mean, I really do read it for the art style mainly, because the storyline is so confusing. So I didn't realize that when I first read the first one that this is kind of a thriller comic book, and I hadn't read much thrillers or mysteries, just in general, let alone graphic novels. So I didn't realize this when I went into the first one. So at the end of the first one, I was so dang confused about what happened and what the storyline, like, I was like, at the end of the first one, I was very much, what did I just read? So I wasn't sure if I wanted to pick this one up, and I was even saying back then when I read the first volume that I might just pick up the second volume so I can have some closure of what the heck happened. This one, I enjoyed a lot better. So I gave this one a 4 out of 5 stars. We did get a lot more closure at the end of this one, but it's still the mystery aspect, which now that I know it's a mystery aspect, I'm a little more okay with not having like full knowledge of what's going on. But at least they wrapped this one up. The other one very much didn't feel like it was wrapped up, and this one did, and I really enjoyed this one. So if you don't know what the volume, the first volume is about, the first volume is all about a fashion blogger who has this persona of being super beautiful and bright green hair, and she's so like fashionable and fabulous, but in real life, or like when she's not portraying this fashion blogger persona, she has super bad allergies and she's super miserable and she like isn't happy basically. So you see like the two different sides of personas, and I really like that we get to see that like celebrity aspect in graphic novel form, and so I really enjoyed that aspect of it. She also has her friends who you see these types of personas and different personalities with that and what they portray to outside sources and what's really going on in their lives. So I really liked all of that. But again, the only thing that I disliked about the other one was the no closure. So we get a little more closure in this. I think that I'll still continue it. It's not one of my favorite ones. I wouldn't recommend it to everybody. However, the artwork is stunning. So I mean, if you're a fan of like that type of artwork, you will immensely enjoy it. But the storyline is not the greatest aspect of this, but it is entertaining and you fly through it. So I think I'll probably still pick up the third volume and see where this goes. And last but not least, in the month of June, I finally picked up Illuminate, and I absolutely adored this. Holy cannoli, I loved this so much. 5 out of 5 stars. This is easily one of the coolest books that I have read / listened to in like this year, and I listened to it on audiobook while following along, and I'm so glad I did this because the audiobook is full cast audiobook. It is phenomenal with what they do with sound effects and different, it's a full cast, so different people, and that it helps so much because of so much going on in this book. So Illuminate, without giving away too much, because I kind of went into it blind and I liked that I went into it blind. So this is all about a crash that happens, a spaceship crash that happens, and these two people who've just gotten out of a relationship, they just broken up, are pulled apart on 2 different like spaceships trying to survive, and they are kind of unraveling things that are happening on said spaceships, and they found a way to communicate with each other even though they're not supposed to communicate with each other. It's so good, and so I highly recommend the audiobook. I also highly recommend reading along with the audiobook because there is so many cool different media things in here that is just, that paired with the audiobook, both of them together, mind-blowingly good. I really recommend this. I really love the humor in this. It's fan-freaking-tastic. I was listening to this like on my rides to work. I don't outward emote what I'm feeling when I'm reading things or listening to things, and I couldn't help it. I was like busting out laughing as I'm driving because this is so good, and I often had to like listen to it on my way to work and then go back and flip through and see what I missed, like with pages and stuff, because like, I mean, it's so good. So I highly recommend, if you have slept on this series like I had, don't do it any longer. It's phenomenal. Go check it out. I cannot wait to pick up the next 2. I have the other 2 on hold through the library app, and I'm excited to get to those because this was so good, and it's definitely worth the wait to do the audiobook with this one. So that is all for what I read in June. Now let's quickly get into my July TBR. As per usual, we'll talk about the Muggle Studies Book Club picks of the month. So we are doing book 2, which is Golden Lily, and we're going to be doing this over on Gabby's channel on July 28th at 6 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, 8 p.m. Central, and we're going to be doing our first Muggle Studies Book Club pick, My Lady Jane, which is the first one, and then after we do this one, we will do the Golden Lily. So the Golden Lily is our second book for the Bloodlines read along, and so we are doing this one. And then, as I just said, My Lady Jane is going to be our main Muggle Studies Book Club pick, and this one was also like big a while back, and now it's like getting more buzz because the second one sort of came out. They're not sequential. The other one, they're like the Lady Janie series, but they're not really connected. This one is all about My Lady Jane Grey, and it ties in with a lot of history, but there's such a fantastical element plugged in with this too that is so fantastic and enjoyable. And there's Ethians in this, so the characters will turn into animals, and there's these people who think that Ethians are evil and heteric and they shouldn't be alive, and so they need to be persecuted. And we get a lot of the influential people ending up being Ethians, and that's such an interesting twist. So to see like who turns into animals, who doesn't, who hates it, what type of animals, like their personalities, and also mixed in with history and stuff like that. So it was really fun to read along with this. I also listened to the audiobook, and there's really good accents in that, and I really enjoyed listening to this one along. So if you want to know my final thoughts on this, stay tuned for my July wrap up. Next up is one that I've actually already finished, and that is Batman Earth 1, and this is an alternate time zone, or alternate reality Batman. And this one, I was so, like, I wasn't expecting too much going into this one. I was recommended this one, but I wasn't expecting too much going into this one because I'm not a big DC fan. This was fantastic. I can't wait to like talk about it more with you guys, but this one follows like the beginning stories because it is the volume 1, and it talks about like backstories and things that I didn't know about. And it also has a villain that is called the Birthday Boy. So that is what this one is, and I can't wait to pick up the second one. Next up is one that I'm currently in the middle of, and that is X-Men The Dark Phoenix Saga. And I'm not particularly loving this art style, but I'm still gonna go through it. But it definitely feels like that 90s, 70s almost, like anywhere between, I don't know, honestly. It's just older art style that I'm not super fan of because I feel like I was baited. This looks very modern. This is not. So I'm not very far into it. It does take a lot of role between Cyclops and Jean Grey's love interest and their relationship, and yeah, I'm in the middle of reading this one. I will let you know my thoughts at the end of this month. Next up is one that I am currently reading, and that is an arc that I got from my work. I work at Barnes & Noble, and we do get arcs sent there sometimes for booksellers to read, and I saw this one come in, and I was like, oh yeah, I've seen like buzz about that, like why not? So this is The Cheerleaders by Cara Thomas. Cara Thomas did Little Monsters, which was really like blew up like crazy when it first came out, and that was a thriller. This is also a thriller. I haven't read let's be real, I haven't read any thrillers, but this was like, I was intrigued because it was marketed as like for fans of Pretty Little Liars, and I'm like, yes. So I'm intrigued by this. There was 3 cheerleaders who had this horrific death, and 2 of them were in a car accident, and the next one got killed, and it was all tied up, and everything was put away, and the person died, and we never know why they did it. And now her sister and the town are wanting to remember the cheerleaders that got in this horrific incident and tragedy. And so they're like, things are getting dredged back up, and things are not as tied up as it seems, and our main character is right in the smack dab of it, and who is also a sister of the victim. So I'm enjoying the writing style quite well so far. I'm not very far into it, but this one has already made me like think about, like, when I'm not reading it, I want to go back and read it. So I'm really enjoying this, and I'm like surprised that I'm enjoying thrillers that much. So we'll see how this changes my reading taste. So this does come out on July at the end of this month. I think it's like the 31st or something. So I'll definitely put up a spoiler-free review for you guys and let you know if you guys should pick it up, because I'm enjoying it so far. And next up, I was saving this for a while. I've been intrigued by thrillers lately because I picked this one up. This one has was also an arc that was sent to the store that it had sat there for a while and no one was really picking it up, and then I was like, well, yeah, like why not? And that is Sadie, and this is by Courtney Summers, and this is also a thriller that doesn't come out until September 4th, so I was putting it off because I wanted to read it closer towards when it came out. But I was thinking, if I'm in the mood for thrillers and I like this, and I think I'm going to like this, I might want to pick up something else, and I don't have any other thrillers, so I thought maybe I'd want to pick this one up too. And it just says on the back, already the most buzzed about young adult thriller of 2018. So I kind of want to go into this one a little bit blind, but just flipping through it, it looks like we've got some mixed media in here. So I don't know if you guys can see that, but it looks like there's like email format in it. So I'm kind of intrigued by different formats of that too. And there's like quite a bit of like emailed formats too. So I'm not really sure what this is about. It just says if she dies, she takes the truth with her. And that's all it really like gives me about this. And the only thing it says about this is a sister Sadie who is going to avenge her sister's murder. And that, I mean, that sounds pretty cool too. So that is all for my June wrap up and my July TBR. Thank you all for understanding that this is super late, and I'm sorry. And I'm planning on filming a few more videos this week or today, so it won't be forever until you see my face again. So let me know down below if you have any thriller recommendations for me. If I'm trying to step into that genre, what do you recommend? And I will see you guys in my next video. Thank you for watching. Bye!